Hey there, let's talk about the power of scheduling your content and why it's a strategy that you should implement immediately. In fact, I'm going to show you exactly how you can schedule your content 1 month in advance. That way you can automate your business just a little bit more. My name is Lisa Ann. I'm a digital marketing strategist from Canada, a global marketing agency owner, course creator, coach, wife, daughter, sister, and I'm a pretty big advocate for loving the gym. I've been helping entrepreneurs and business owners scale through digital marketing strategies for over 5 years now. And one of the biggest tips I begin with is starting to build your organic foundation. Planning your content 1 month in advance will help kickstart that foundation. Why? Because it gives you leverage. I know. Lisa, I already have enough work and now you're telling me I need to plan a full month of it? Geez, I don't have time for that. I know that at first this may sound like a little bit much, but I'll let you in on why planning ahead gives you more power over your competitors. First, let's talk about the why, and then we'll get into the how. So number 1, planning your ahead shows that you mean business. When you plan ahead, you're making a statement. I will do so and so by this date. You're setting an intention. There's a saying that a goal without a timeline is a dream. And in many cases, that's the reality. Without a roadmap or nowadays a GPS, how do you get to where you need to go? You pick a route, right? This is the start of that. All of the details will come into view. And as you plan your content for the next 4 or 5 weeks, suddenly you're able to see all your challenges, big and small, super easily. Now, there's a lot of details to the work that you do, and now the details will become super clear, which is going to lead me to my next point of why you should be doing this. Things will not get left out. When a process, any process, has many steps, that process is no longer a simple one. Now it's complex. So for example, let's say you were working on a YouTube video. It's filmed, edited, and you promise your viewers that you'll upload it today. You have your title and your description ready to go. But as the video is actually processing on YouTube and you're getting ready for it to be published, you realize, shoot, I didn't even get a chance to figure out the tags for the video or what hashtags I want to use. So here's another issue. What if that day is jam-packed? What if you don't have that extra hour or 2 to sit down and do the research that particular day? Or what if your assistant is across the world and they can't do the work for you that specific instant? Then that means having content that is published to the world that is less than solid because you left out some details. And while that video may be awesome, now that video is going to be affected by what wasn't done or what couldn't have been done. Sure, it's not always so cut and dry, but if we're being thorough, if you run a company, if you want your content to be seen, if you want to have an impact, those kind of details, they matter, don't they? So number 3, you'll learn what you haven't been doing right. Planning ahead is also powerful for another reason. It finally will become clear what your weak points are. Maybe some things come easily, but you found that you've been dreading another element of the work, or perhaps it just doesn't come as naturally to you. Now you'll have a much better understanding of what your weaknesses are. This will give you the clarity to realize, now see, that could use some improvements, or maybe it's even, I should hire someone to help me with this. So point number 4, you can actually do it better. When you have time to plan, you have time for research, and research means getting everything that you need, you'll have the control to consider an array of elements such as your content strategy, your audience, your SEO, your branding, and so much more. Now, point number 5, you can take however long you want. Timing. We all know how relevant time is. Now, imagine a company that is working on promoting a line of sandals, for example. You'd want to time that for the warmer months, no? But then it obviously also depends on where you're located, and if the manufacturer of shoes is in one country, but then they sell them in another country that has a different climate, time matters. Or if you're an artist and you're getting ready to go on stage, it's normal to make the crowd wait a few minutes before you show up. Usually a song will start playing, and then a few seconds later, that person walks on the stage. Showing up before the song, it may happen every so often, but showing up either before or a few seconds too late or a few minutes too late, it's going to affect how the crowd will feel altogether. Now, of course, yes, they're pleased to see the artist regardless, but how well something is timed says a lot about the person and the production. Let's consider Lady Gaga. Do you think her timing is ever off? I highly doubt it. In any case, planning ahead will give you the foresight to say, you know what? I really want to post this article. I'm so excited about it, but despite that, now I can actually see that it may be better to wait until August or September to post it. But you get the idea. Oh, it's like having extra time on an exam, but better. When you're taking an exam or a pop-up quiz in school, having some extra time can make a world of a difference. It may be difficult for you to perform knowing that you're on a timeline or you're on the clock. Professional speakers that go on stage, they are used to this, but not everyone is. When you have extra time, you have that ability to not only double check it or triple check it, but you can review things with as much attention as you feel that they need. So how do you go about planning your content 1 month in advance? How do you put this into practice? It definitely depends on which platforms you're active on, but before we even get there, it may be best to do this with an Excel document to start. So for today's lesson, we'll be making use of Google Sheets, which is similar to an Excel document. No worries. I hear it. Lisa, are you seriously telling me I need to start creating spreadsheets? This is not what I came here for. The answer is yes, but not in the way that you're accustomed to seeing. We're going to use spreadsheets to create a publishing calendar that is well thought out. We're organizing ideas. We're not crunching numbers, so don't worry if you're not a numbers person. But once you've created this template, it's going to be fitted to precisely your specific needs, and it's there for as long as you need it or as long as you want it. So why do I recommend this? Sure, it's true that there are a lot of platforms out there that have scheduling features, but not all of them are good, and let's be honest, some are seriously lacking. My biggest obsessions with spreadsheets is that they are in your control. They're not on a website that you don't own. The layout isn't going to change overnight unless you change it. And some features overnight may just become available or may not be available anymore. So YouTube recently changed their backend dashboards and it's weak. It does look more modern, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's better for the users. We're going to make something better that you will have access on both your computer and your phone. And I do suggest working with Google Sheets on your computer because honestly, it's a lot easier to build this out. It's nice to have that app to be able to view it as needed though. So let's dive right into our Excel document. So for this spreadsheet, the first thing that we're going to do is give it a name, and we will name it Facebook Publishing Calendar. Looking at the publishing tools on Facebook's back end, you're given a small look at the post, the reach, the engagement, the date, and the privacy of the previous post that you've made. But as you can tell, there are some things that could be helpful to have here, but aren't here. So let's go to our spreadsheet. Let's write some of the most basic things first. We have the date, we have the title, we have the post type, and let's say other. For some of these things, we may want to include a photo or a thumbnail, so that's worth including as well. Now let's stylize this, however you think it'll look best. Now for those of you that think this is a waste of time, I'm going to ask you to reconsider. Styling a spreadsheet may be the difference of what makes you actually use it. If it's pretty, you'll probably be likely to use it better. Now let's spread out some of these columns a bit. Content would probably be the widest column, and what I like to do is what's known as freezing this top row. This way, when you scroll, it'll be clear on what you're looking at. It's a lot easier to keep things on track, and trust me, you'll want to master this. Okay, so let's plan for the month of July since we're in June right now, and let's plan to publish content every day, Monday through Friday. July 1st is a Wednesday, and then we'll add on Thursday and Friday as well. Then we have Saturday and Sunday, which are your off days. Then the following week starts on July 6th. So we'll fill out the dates for the rest of the week as well. Now, of course, you'll want to fill out the whole month, but we'll use this as our sample for the general format. I find having these spaces is useful if it's a weekend, so you understand what your week actually looks like. So now you have a lot of different elements that are clear, but there are some things that I'm forgetting. So looking at Facebook's backend, there are some things we don't have included. Some of those things are hashtags and keywords. Those are definitely really relevant. Looking back at their backend, well, you have a glimpse of what the post was, and while there's a small thumbnail, it's helpful to know what content you'll be publishing or what content has already been published. While we have named this Facebook publishing calendar, it doesn't mean that you can't have all of your prior posts below. You can have things scheduled here, and you can have things published here, which leads me to another column. Having these types of elements will at least make it easier for you to read things clearly and have certain information very quickly. It's easy to read a spreadsheet. Think you are reading one thing only to learn that in a rush you may have overlooked something, and this way you see it clear that it has or hasn't been yet scheduled. This is one example I like to give you to work with. Okay, so let me think. Let's say you're that shoe company and there are different types of shoes that you want to advertise. And let's say you want the content to have some type of variety. Now let's say that you released a sandal, and let's just call it sandal A for this example. Back to back, you may not necessarily want to be promoting that exact same thing. Now let's say the next day you talk about heels B. The third day you talk about flats. On Monday, we could talk about sneakers, but if the season isn't right, you definitely don't want to talk about boots, right? If the season is summertime, boots wouldn't be relevant at this moment, and obviously that's depending on your region, of course. And you can see one of the first ways to plan out your content is by planning out that initial idea. You may not always know what the exact content will be, but having this general idea is helpful, and planning it gives you the power of having it written down, and then you know how to remember it. Now let's talk about post types. Do we have a video of any of these items? If we do, are we posting all of them, or are we doing this differently? Maybe one day we want to have a picture. Maybe another you want to have a video. Maybe another you want to actually do a poll. Let's say you want to show 3 pictures of the same flats in 3 different colors, and you can have people poll on what they like better. As far as diversity of types of posts, you can even do something like adding in a link. As we know, there's obviously a lot of power in getting people to your actual website. Having a social media strategy is helpful, but getting the person to go back on your website is even more powerful because now they're on your domain. And now you're in control of being able to convert that person. Now let's address ads. A spreadsheet can be a good way to keep track of anything that you have going. whether it's free content or if it's paid content. Something that you're dishing out a lot of cash for. If it's an ad, maybe it's helpful to have a column here that could be ad spend or ad date. Something that tells you how long the campaign may be running or how much you've been spent on that campaign. We have this frozen in a way where we move this, it doesn't change. I recommend doing the same for these 3 columns here as well. Now we have the ability to do this, right? So let's say it's an ad and there's a lot of information that you need. You still want to know exactly what day it's going on, but now you can easily move the sidebar to bring you to where you specifically need to be. That's why I feel like spreadsheets are so powerful. And again, you can basically design this for any platform that you're working with, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, or YouTube. Every platform has its nuances, and for each one, you'll have to consider which elements you want to plan for, but you'll also want to think about what makes the most sense for you in your business. So let's talk about Instagram for a moment. Hashtags are so relevant to this platform, but which hashtags are trending that day also vary. So for this reason, I suggest writing perhaps some general hashtags first. Now, hashtags that when research, you want to have something that is consistently performing well with at least 1 million views per hour. A few specific ones directly related to that post or within that text within that post. And for the rest, just wait until that day and choose your hashtags then. Remember, use this spreadsheet wisely. G Suite has a lot to offer, and you're also able to link content from one document to another. So think about that option when you're considering how you'll be formatting and publishing your calendar and what other documents you're hosting inside of your cloud. Well, that's all I have for you today. If Instagram or Facebook are platforms that you cannot seem to master, or simply you have questions, you can find me at Lisa Ann Coaching across all platforms. And if you found this video to be insightful, be sure to hit that like button. And if you want more content about how to become a digital marketing strategist or how to use digital marketing in a way that it works for you, subscribe and let me know that you want to see more. But I'll see you next week. Bye for now.